everyone. My name is Megan.
Hello.
I'm the Director of Operations for the WPG Academy, and I will be hosting today's session as our regular host, Tim Palmer, is currently wrapping up the WPG tour. They just got back from an awesome tour, and he will be back this Saturday with us. But for now, I'm here with Anders Elton. Anders was the first WPG soloist ever, right? Is that correct?
Well, I guess so.
Back in 2016.
And the first leg of the first tour ever, yeah.
Yeah. So very original WPG alumni. We're so lucky to have him here today. Would you like to tell us about where you're from, where you teach, what your favorite things are to play, anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so my name is Anders, of course, and I'm based in Denmark. I'm a Danish, percussionist, and I did all of my studies here in Copenhagen, and which is where I'm also teaching now. And I mainly teach mallet, marimba, and vibraphone. And then I also teach a bit in Norway, in Stavanger. Started officially like a year ago, and then been teaching there for a couple of years now, and really enjoying it up there. It's another really nice place. Yeah, and then I do a lot of solo concerts, recordings. I have a duo, and now I started recently a trio project with the Theodor Milkov and Arjan Jongsma, and we're called the Spectrum Entheogen. Yes, it's a very weird name, but Theo is it.
It's a very cool name.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, I mean, and yeah, I guess the first WPG tour was back in 2015 or 16, or I don't even remember. It's so long ago that it fades into history. But that was great because we did a tour from Las Vegas and all around the US, and ended up in Texas eventually, but not after we visit like 10 or 11 different states. It was a crazy tour. Very
oh
nice
my,
though.
that sounds like a lot of fun. I forgot
That was
that
a
the
lot of
first
fun.
tour was a driving tour. That's so cool.
No, it was a proper road trip with a little bit of playing.
Yeah, that's
So
so cool. Well,
yeah,
thank you so much. If you don't mind, I would also love to play a quick recording from that tour,
from way back when.
way back when of your marimba solo,
All right.
so everyone can hear a little bit of your playing before we all show everyone else's playing. Let
Sure.
me see. The title, The Amazing Anna Selten
Oh
Marimba
no.
Solo.
Ah, it's 2016. Yeah. Hmm.
Yay, very nice.
Quite
Thank
some
you.
hard mallets I had back then.
um, I think that's such an awesome arrangement. Thank you for letting us share your playing. Um,
Yeah, and
and
the arrangement is by Johan Bridger. So please write to him if you want it, not to me.
very cool. Thank you. XY duo, are you ready to go? All right, we're going to bring on our first performance of the day. We have the XY duo. You guys are currently in Boston, right? Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So we're in Boston, and I just graduated. We was both in Boston Conservatory at Berkeley, studying with Nancy Zausman and Sam Solomon, and yeah, and we're a twin, and so we've been playing a duo since we were very little. Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's becoming very popular to be percussion twins these days.
I guess.
And would you like to say a little bit about what you'll be performing today, about your arrangement?
So we're being performing for the concerto for marimba and strings by Emil Cicerone, and it was originally a concerto. And I first learned the concerto and for a concerto competition, and then we just thought it would be cool to make it like arrange for a duo. So we just did it.
Totally. Thank you. I am super excited to hear you guys play. Let's go ahead and get started.
right, awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
And I can hear you. Okay, great. Well, thank you for the performance last year, I suppose. So, have you guys played this piece since, or?
Only one time, like last fall. Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah. So, I mean, I really like the idea. Actually, I mean, it. I never thought about that myself that this would work, but I think it works very very well actually. Also, the way that you split some passages, so it's not just like one soloist, but especially the
Yeah.
beginning, you take turns.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you were to play it again, I mean, so actually, I listened earlier today just to, and all my ideas or comments are kind of about the arrangement itself a little bit.
Yeah.
Not so much centered around the playing. So I don't know if you're not going to play it again, then, but maybe you are going to play it again in the
Yeah.
future.
We will play like in the future.
You have maybe already some performances planned, or?
I think mostly next year in the summer.
Mhm. Okay, next year in the summer, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I if I mean, I might recommend, you could take more passages probably, and take turns to sort of being the soloist, because
Oh.
in the like on the first page there, you take turns, right? And
Yeah.
it works super seamlessly. And then sort of in the middle part of the piece, then it's just like like solo and accompaniment. And I wonder if you could find some. Of course, it's written as a solo. Also when it goes into like the, let's call it the C part, where you start to have the melody in octaves and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if you could find some nice moments in there to switch. Like, so one is bringing one statement, and then there's a comment. It's uh, already a little bit like that, the music. So maybe, so it's not just like of course then you'd have to learn the solo part, the one who
Yeah.
didn't play it before. But this could be maybe because it gets a little bit long. For me, it gets a little bit long in this section, and so maybe something like that, some kind of dialogue,
Yeah.
would be nice. So maybe you could, since anyways it's kind of changing the piece by arranging it, so maybe you could just switch roles a little bit. I think maybe that would make it a little bit more interesting here. But
Yeah.
already it sounds good. And then yeah, all right. So, but let's start from the beginning. So I think especially this first, opening, it sounds really nice for marimba duo, surprisingly well, I would say. Um, I mean, so it's just like sort of getting the notes right, and having this fiery spirit, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for my taste, like the small ornaments are a little bit too kind of closed, a little too quick, maybe.
Mm.
Like this could be have more of a role to play, I think.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
find because on the marimba we have such a limited way of articulating, right? I mean, you can play like this or like this, but I mean, it doesn't change so much. But when you finally have a little trill or an ornament, then you can really change your expression. And so I
Yeah.
think every time I see something like that, and I also like to play a lot of Baroque music, so I see that a lot in that literature. Whenever I play something else, which is not Baroque, and I see something like that, I'm like, yay, because there you can really, depending on your mood or your interpretation, you can really give it, your own personal touch. So I would milk that a little bit more. You're also playing quite fast, so it's limited how much you can do with it, but you can do more than that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if do you have guys have the score also?
Yeah. Yeah. We have the
Yeah, so when you come to this first part, like this part, it sounds to me a little bit boring in 8 notes, because I think also in the original version, the strings are playing diggy diggy dee, like there's
Yeah.
like this super cool effect. So question is, if one of you could just play, like or it would be just taking, like this, the other. You get what I mean, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So then you can still do both the, like the bass part, because it makes it very nice and big, right? To double the bass, but then like this, then you get a nice effect, I think.
Yeah.
I believe it's the way it's written originally. Then da 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 da, they are just holding the notes, but you don't have to do just da 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 da, like that.
Yeah.
This could maybe make this more interesting, because you come from like daga dika 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 dika, and then it's like da da did da 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 da. To me, or you could do like a twin cushion style, and one is playing gang 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 gang, and the other one is ga 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 ga, like on the off 16 notes. It's like twin cushion style, but it's very very difficult. But you guys are also twins, so you should be able to do it as well. I think it's it's in your DNA to make the splits. Yeah, that's another way, right? But I think that da 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 da, like just making the 60 notes like this is the easiest way, of course, and also not so easy, because to play like 5 16 notes in table 138 is also not like super easy, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. So, and then if we skip ahead a little bit, and then I think it works great, from the next part, and I think even the so who's playing part 1 and who's playing part 2?
She playing the marimba part.
Okay, right.
She played
And
the
the orchestral, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I would kindly ask you for your names, because XY is who. I will not ask who is X and who is Y, but your actual names.
We're kind. She's name is Xingyue Xue, and my name is Xingyao Xue, and we both have XY in our name, so that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, Xingyue spelling like XINGYUE, and my name is XINGYAO. So it's
All right.
so
Okay, I
both,
see. It's
yeah.
right. It's a cool name. Also for the duo, yeah, it works. So anyway, so for the yes, it's hard to remember for me. But so for the accompaniment part, you can give a little bit more. I think the boom jaka jaka, like on those ones, it's nice. It also has the accent, right? I can just hear the piano kind of distinctly, so it's not like boom bop bop boom, but like a little more fire in those 8 notes, right? Could be nice.
Yeah.
And then we come to the roll on the next page 41, on bar number 23. And here I think you can solve it differently. You are on this high B.
Yeah.
And I think why don't you split out? Maybe you could, like, I don't know, maybe you could put some extra notes, or I don't even know, but that you don't just play like the chord as an arpeggio, kind of a slow arpeggio, but you kind of rolling on that to bring the whole thing up, maybe.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit weird. Then you get the arpeggio, and then afterwards comes just like one note. This I felt was the only place that it really didn't work for my taste a little bit. So maybe you can do both do a roll, or you can split it out. One takes 2 low notes and skips a note, and then takes, like, so you fill out the gaps between you. But it's hard for me to say, because you'll have to listen to that, or the solo part simply just takes oh wait, sorry, it's the, is that the notes? right? So you're just rolling on the right hand of the piano, and one is rolling on the left hand of the piano, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to get a nice full sound, right?
Okay, yeah.
Boom, boom. Yeah. And then a little bit more, I think, for the solo player on 26. Dun, 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 dun. Like this is such a nice little lick, just bring it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, everything that doesn't have two notes could maybe be the left hand,
Yeah.
and because that's really the important, and then you just take the less important notes. I mean, you're the important notes with the right hand, and then the less important with the left hand. I think is maybe you already do, but maybe just give even more smack on the right hand than.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great. And then we have the same thing on bar number 30. It's a little boring the way it is. So maybe you can split it somehow. Maybe you can even try a different kind of splitting here, or, there's a lot of possibilities with that to make it not just these 8 notes, which are kind of little bit boring. All right, great. Yes. But I mean, yeah, and in general, I mean, I just noticed on the recording that some low notes were a little bit broken, which of course is
that's a marimba, like
from
they
the
have
school probably.
Yeah, they have some bars.
But it's just, I know, it's just a shame because it's such beautiful instruments. Also, these marimba ones, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just so. Anyways, just it always goes for all of us marimba players, percussion players. We just got to be always reminded to take really good care of the instruments, right? It's just because it's such a valuable resource, and so anyway, because this piece also, you want to go for that low D or something, right? Quite a lot in the G, and just take good care, right?
I know.
I mean, I'm sure Nancy has been.
Nancy.
I can imagine. So great. So we'll just say, like, it's an excellent idea. I think you guys play obviously super well together. Also, you're twins. So it was a joy to listen to, and I hope to listen to you in the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a speed run. Some more stuff there, but I mean, it's also hard when we can't really work. You guys don't have the instrument. I actually have a different camera, so we could have worked a bit more, but maybe some other time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome job. That is a great idea for an arrangement for sure.
Yeah, right.
Noah,
Well,
are you ready to go? So we have our next performance. Hello, Noah.
Hey. Oh, in the car.
Yes, yeah, I'm in the middle of teaching right now, so.
All right.
Noah, you can go ahead. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you go to school, and what piece you'll be playing?
Yeah, so I currently go to school at Texas A&M Commerce. I'm getting my master's there. I got my undergrad degree in music education at UNT. And then today I have a recording of Jacob Druckmann's Reflections on the Nature of Water, movements 1 and 4.
Awesome. Super excited to hear you play. Let's go ahead and get started.
Right, excellent. It was it only on my stream that the very ending kind of bugged out a little bit. That's a shame. Such a
No,
shame.
yeah, no, mine too.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, all right. Well, anyways, I think people can find your probably your recording on YouTube, hopefully, if they
Yes.
want to listen to. But is it just those two movements, or did you record the full thing?
I was just those two.
All right, yeah, they are also the nicest ones. So, but excellent job. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's sometimes it can. I feel like at least it can sound like a hard piece to sell. You know, I actually didn't play this one myself, but you make it sound really, really interesting and technique wise, I mean, you look super comfortable with this. You know, it looks very relaxed and fluent, and basically don't have any comments to that. Just looks nice. So that's great. Um, so if we just go then you know, like overall, right? So just curious, because I think everybody approaches this piece a little bit differently. So but what are your sort of how deep do you go into this kind of reflecting on water, you know?
hmm
Do you try to use you know, imagery or concepts, or how do you try to use that in a creative process? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I think when I first started learning the piece, it was it was a very literal interpretation of how water
Mm-hmm.
acts and moves. Like, I think I took it very much at face value when I first started learning the
Mm-hmm.
piece. As it sat in my hands for a while, I think it took more of like a figurative approach, or maybe like, like crystalline. To me, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna think of like cold water dropping on like a freezing lake.
Right.
But then I after a while I started to think about maybe like the properties of like how light bends through water, or like
Right.
how maybe like light bends through ice. And
Hmm.
I think I just started taking different frames on it as I went through the piece. Just because I kind of took that for me to like stay engaged with it for such a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I think I played this piece like from the fall through masters auditions. So
Right.
I played this piece for like close to 9 months. So it
Wow.
kind of
Yeah.
took me having to reframe the piece to
Mm.
really keep at it.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's a great, also in a way, its own exercise, right?
Hmm.
Because some other pieces, they don't sort of serve up like the task of, I mean, and water is also such a nice element, right? Or it has so
Hmm.
many sort of, if it's so multifaceted in a way. I mean, you can approach it from so many, and obviously so fundamental to everything here on Earth. So it's sort of a nice element to work with creatively, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's I mean, some excellent, very excellent observations on that. It's also sort of what I hear a little bit, when you have the roll and then it splits out. It's really kind of like drops on I just imagine like kind of almost still water, right? And then you have the plunk, like these small
Hmm.
droplets of water coming, right?
Hmm.
Um, so Yeah, so one thing, just like if we have to go sort of like a little bit nitty gritty, right? Then sometimes, and I really like the performance. Sometimes um, I would like a bit more of kind of flow, personally. For instance, especially when you have like this, you have this first kind of loud place, right? It climbs with the quintuplets to the top. I don't know if you have the score there.
Hmm.
Yeah, you probably after 9 months you have it
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
photographically rendered in your mind.
yeah.
But you come to this, you're up there, and it kind of starts over, right? And then you have this
Hmm.
bomb, this A octaves, and right now, when you look at it just from the score, you can really clearly tell like this mezzo forte, mezzo piano, piano, right? It's really
Hmm.
like a kind of a long stretch. It's also written to like sort of be sustained, like although you can't really do much about it. So probably after 9 months, you don't want to relearn anything. But what I thought about was that you play a lot. Like I can just show you with the other camera here. Gonna play some weird stuff in the top here, right? But I mean, you move quite a lot, like you always end like it's like, and then another thing, right?
Hmm.
And sort of, if you could just like play the octave with the left hand, and then not help with mallet number one, for instance. It goes for a lot of things. If you could just play it like this, and you just stay in the same place, I think that you could get a nice kind of piece to this part of it, because now it's like
Hmm.
it's like you're just walking back and forth all the time. It's something that is kind of unique to us percussionists. Like a guitarist doesn't have to like walk up, it's like to stretch his arm or
Hmm.
something. We have to kind of, and a pianist can kind of reach everything from a sitting position, the
Hmm.
same place, but we have to walk sometimes. But a lot of times we don't have to walk if we think and plan in advance, sticking wise and stuff. And I think right there is a place where you can um, really get it out better. If you don't like it becomes a little what do you call it in English, like a little separated or a little
Hmm.
disjunct, like
Yeah.
right. And then on the sort of like in the beginning, I mean, of course it shouldn't be like metronomically. I think you should be super free. It's just like you have the first thing, boom, and it comes super fast, but it's like it's supposed to come pretty far after, as far as I can see, right? So not being like a tempo strict adherent, but maybe in the very opening trying to play just like the not the rhythms, but like try to fill the space that's written, at least in the first few bars, right? And then I think it's fine to deviate from it, but it just seems like it's a pretty big deviation.
Okay.
And then, but I mean, in general, I really like the way you play this movement. I mean, it's really excellent, and I heard a lot of performances of this. I think it really works well. So I don't have too many comments for this, honestly. You know, yeah, it just works, you know. So for the fourth movement there, it also works really nice, I think. And there it's really a matter of getting these two separate voices, right? At least two separate voices. And I just feel like sometimes I can't really tell what is the left hand playing, you know. And I'm just wondering, like, how did you practice a lot, like, you know, like playing just the left hand part, or how did you approach?
Yeah. I mainly rehearsed it because the left hand is like, I think, like a set. I haven't played the piece in a minute, but the left hand only has like 3 sets of ostinati. Like there's 3 different ostinati throughout the entire movement, or maybe it's 4. And yeah, I would practice that independently, and I would work on having the right hand be able to weave in and out of that. It may not have come through as clearly in the recording, but I was a little intentional for a while, at least, about making it weave through.
Yeah, exactly. It's just there's a couple of places where it's written sort of like for the left hand to pop out, even a little bit more than the right hand. You know, like if you have the score there, you know, like the first time it goes to the next pattern, so to speak, right? The next ostinato. Then I didn't really hear this. I mean, it goes this, you know, like this one, like this F C sharp thing. I just, you know, I feel like as a marimba player, you really need to. I mean, if you play the piano, you can really hear the pitch of what you're doing. But the lower you go on the marimba, you're playing something, but it's like so overtone rich that you start to, you know, like you really have to try to conceptualize it, you know. Otherwise, it's like something, you know. And if in your mind it's like something, then it's a little bit hard to balance it correctly. You know what I mean? And I feel like maybe there could be a little bit of work to do there by also maybe really kind of singing, you know, the left hand and really completely, and you probably know it, and but you know, like really hearing that left hand, like really the pitches, because that makes it much easier to bring it out somehow psychologically. I felt that way, at least when doing like some Bach, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just the same voice down here, but my mind is kind of on the right hand, and you know, so being able to keep your mind both places and play the left hand, like I call it kind of like if you can kind of intonate it, you know, like then you will also know exactly where on the bar it must go, and then it will sound more full and more like that pitch that you want. So that's just one thing. And then, yeah, it keeps going for a while. We have this diddle-diddle, you know, it's worked really nice. And maybe you can smooth the transition a little bit, like, you know, like it shouldn't be like ritardando or anything. Just I feel like you could keep it like as a one flow down to this mezzo piano a little bit even better. It was quite good, but could be even better. And then there's like this on the next page, if you have it there, there's this forte with an accent, right? And it's even it's a nasty seventh, right? I mean, I feel like that could get a little bit more attention as well. You know, like it's a really nice little progression there. It's a super cool progression melodically, and then there's just a small note that you got wrong, I think, in after 9 months. Ah, it's on the last system on this page. On the crescendo, you have this, but I think you just play or something. You're just playing, I think, the same notes. It's an A sharp, right? Just if you didn't, if you missed that one, doesn't really matter at all. I just noticed, so I just wanted to say it. And then, the only thing I would say that could maybe make this movement even nicer is sort of like this last triple piece, you know, like, you know, especially since you're playing the Stevens grip and you have such good technique, you know, that kind of feeling that you're almost just like playing with your fingers, right? So not too much like that feeling, but just putting them kind of down. You can even use the arm a little bit. The arm can make a very slow motion and very kind of controlled. Like these motions are a little bit snappy and very hard to get 3-piece, you know. But if you have that kind of feeling, you know, rather than that kind of feeling, you know what I mean? I mean, you can really with students just kind of drop them and almost play like it was a piano or something, and then you can help a little bit with the arms, like that, and then it's gonna be like even smoother and like really quiet. I think that could make maybe the ending a little bit more magical. And then I just had one idea that maybe I wanted to show you. I love dampening a little bit, but the last thing here, right? You have this, you know, maybe you could just, you can just dampen like and only let like the B flat, E flat ring, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
That it can give such a nice, you know, like these kind of dampenings on the marimba. It's so boring after you hear it. You know, this can be a very nice, like these kind of small slides. I really love to do those. Yeah. But I mean, I guess you're not probably playing this piece too much anymore. I mean, so I'm getting into like details that you probably don't really care about anymore.
Oh no, I mean, like I fully intend on bringing this piece back sometime soon. Yeah, I want to finish the whole thing, and I think these two movements are ones that like I could pull out of my back pocket for like maybe like a showcase concert or maybe a contest of some sort. But I do intend on completing the work.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I think you have sort of like a natural way of approaching this and an interesting way, and it's just smooth and nice. And so I think it would be great if you did the whole thing and recorded it and put it up for everyone to see, you know, and another contribution to you know, to what's out there. This would be super nice.
No, yeah, I appreciate it, and this advice is all great. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, it's a little hard to when we can't. I mean, you're even in the car without an instrument, so it's hard to work on that. But I mean, I hope that you know, I gave a few ideas at least. So
no, this has been so helpful. Thank you so much.
and I'm looking forward to hear the recording then of the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Excellent.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
Very, very nice recording. That was awesome feedback. Thank you so much. Even I have not played the piece either, but it was so
I think
helpful.
we have to eventually, right?
Yeah. Jack, are you ready to go? Nice. Okay, we have our next performance. Hi, Jack. Okay, I can hear you now. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and about the piece you'll be playing?
I'm Jack. I'm currently studying. I'm first year at university in Newcastle studying music, and the piece that I'm gonna play is "As the Snow Falls" from Robert Otomo's book Four Fantasies for Solo Marimba. I got this piece off a friend of mine who played it when he won BBC Young Musician of the Year 2 years ago, and in the UK, and he played it in the final, and so I messaged him saying, "Can you send me the piece?" And he did. So I've been learning it this year, and I played it for my recital on Friday that just gone.
Oh, great.
So I would use the video from that. However, I don't have it yet, sadly. So this is a video from a while ago that you're going to see. But yeah, I hope you enjoy.
Well, congratulations on
congrats.
your recital.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's the video.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your performance from a while back.
Yeah.
So just curious to hear. So you performed this in a recital yesterday, you say?
On Friday.
On Friday. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So it was my
So
my end of year recital on Friday.
right. So looking back on this recording, I'm just curious to hear sort of what are your own thoughts? You know, what do you think comparing to Friday? Like, you know, what do you think went better? Did you approach some things differently? Like, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Definitely. I mean, I think it's definitely from this recording, it's improved. Definitely, like because I've heard this a few times through this course, and every time I listen to it, like I pick out more mistakes. But
I mean, it's not too much about mistakes, I think, but sort of like speaking as the of the music, sort of like. Did you feel like you got more into some of it, or so?
Yeah,
What are your?
I've definitely interpreted differently to this recording in my recital.
So what, for instance?
So, for example, have you got the score there?
Oh yeah. It's right here on my tablet.
At the bottom of page 2, at bar 32, where it's the octaves in the right hand, and then it's in the upper register. In my recital and after this recording, I changed it so that those were kind of offset. So rather than just going bling bling bling, I went ba-ding ba-ding ba-ding, and through that.
Okay.
It was
all right.
Just to add like a different element to it and just some variation, because it felt all the same in this recording, I think, and so I wanted to change it a little bit, at least.
All right. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you didn't add some one-handed rolls and stuff.
I should have.
I guess you could actually, but yeah, okay, great. So yeah, I mean, I never heard this piece before. I mean, I do have a few sort of like comments and some general things. So if sort of just like from observing, you know, and from a technical standpoint, before we even get into music and stuff. So there's many variations, I think, on the Stephen script. But I think common for most of them, if not all, is that that at least in like a position of a fifth, you won't really go like this for like a fifth.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very helpful, because the great thing about the grip is that you have a lot of sort of like a finger control, right?
Yeah.
And personally, I mean, I use this quite a fair bit, but only in like bigger intervals, you know, like octave maybe or seventh, that I don't want to. You know, the proper, let's say the textbook Stevens will be to go out here, right, for the bigger intervals underneath the middle finger.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a little bit cumbersome sometimes. I think it depends on the layout of your fingers and your anatomy, or maybe your willpower. But for me, I kind of often these days kind of just cheat and put it here. But for a fifth, I would never do it, because the thing is that, especially for the fifth, I mean, you can use the thumb, right, to power up the mallets. Plus, you have a lot of control over the interval changing. And you will notice, like, the wrong note in bar number 20, the really grueling wrong note, is especially the left hand is going like this, like, like, and missing totally, because there's not enough control of the inside mallet.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so that one you kind of got wrong, just because of the way you hold the mallets currently, I think.
Yeah.
So this, if I had to give you one advice, it would be really to change that, because actually a right hand looks more natural. So doing more exercises like scales and stuff, where you see you keeping your thumbs on the shaft, so that you can actually just pretty much just play with your fingers. You don't even need wrist or anything. You're just playing with your fingers, because that's kind of unique a little bit to the Stephen script. You know, you can just pretty much just like the wrist. It's just all thumb, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like here, the thumb's not doing much, you know.
Yeah.
So you're missing a little bit of the good thing about that grip. And of course, with the finger control comes a lot of different nuances you can get. Either you make a quick stroke with the fingers, or you make a slow stroke with the arm, or like any combination of those smaller and bigger muscles will produce slightly different sounds and feel completely different. So I think you will discover for this piece, you basically never need to go here, because even the stuff in the right hand is in a register where you don't even have to do that. So you should pretty much never go to that position in this piece, in my opinion, but it totally depends on your arms. But it's just that then you can control the sounds better.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing. So I would do a lot of scales if I were you. A lot of scales in a comfortable position where like this, where it's comfortable. You have the thumb on, and you're just doing scales like. It's gonna switch this one again. Boom, you're just gonna do scales, like, so not like that, but with a good, healthy thumb index finger control,
Yeah.
Scales and sight reading, just take some violin, cello, whatever flute things. Get the good sight reading skills also, and just sight read it with 4 mallets and get used to kind of getting more of that control with the thumb. Okay. It's way too much time spent on that little detail. It's a very, very fundamental thing to the grip, I think. And then for the octaves in the right hand, of course, now you're doing them very much like this. So very kind of a raise, well, a very, very nice neutral, like handshake position.
Yeah.
The thing is that the further up you go, the more awkward that becomes.
Yeah.
So actually, what I do a lot, and I can just demonstrate it a little bit, since anyways, I like to approach octaves, especially since it's essentially the same note, right? It's just vibrating twice as fast. So I like to go a little bit more flat, and then use more kind of this kind of like almost like a wrist stroke to power up mallet number 4 more than mallet number 3. So
Okay.
instead of playing like super like centered and both mallets the same, I lean over a little bit and basically use like a wrist motion. I don't know if you play like the Burton grip, but it's especially useful here. You can just go like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be another thing, because then as the further you get up, the more flat you can get. But here you can still do that motion, but it becomes really hard to do that. So the further you go, it's not the best angle for this, but if you see like this, it's gonna be really awkward. But if you can then go flat for like so it's gonna make it feel more comfortable, easier to hit like the right notes.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, maybe doing some exercises where you just, like you experiment with being like this, and then just like kind of how flat can you go, like you can go really flat actually, like really flat. Here's if I'm vertical, it's like here. If you go flat, you're back in a sort of nice, like you're keeping the elbows low and not like going here. So just some octave exercises like that, going up and down the instrument and feeling that kind of, as you go out, you also go more flat. Yeah, it's very helpful for many pieces.
Yeah.
All right, so that's too much of this kind of technical small details. So just quickly some musical details. So basically, this is kind of a weird, like a lot of marimba pieces are a little bit different than many other kind of pieces, in that you actually kind of have an interpretative choice. What is the melody and what is just like a texture? And sometimes they kind of blend together, and like how much apart do you want them to become, right? For instance, if you look down in bar number 9, is like what is actually supposed to be. I mean, it's a little unclear, I think, because the note, we call them necks in the staves that, they go to both voices, right? So are you supposed to bring out those voices more? Or, I mean, for me, I like at least duality, or even more, like some kind of polyphony. So I would take care personally, and it's totally an interpretative thing. I would like to separate the voices out, so then you have more kind of two layers to work with, at least.
Yeah, that's what I did try to do.
Right.
I don't think it came across very well in the recording, but
especially
in my
some places,
I tried to kind of, especially like a bar 9, where it's like pretty clear on the score what's the tune and what's the accompaniment underneath.
Mm-hmm. So just wanted to show you. Sorry.
Trying to kind of bring out the right hand melody.
Exactly. So one thing that I find is very helpful in a way to approach this, kind of like, how do you, like, so you don't have to play, like to bang out the melody every time, okay? Is to sort of kind of have time for the left hand to get away, okay? So you don't play, because then if you kind of make a little crescendo to the top, then it's a high, then you have to bang out the melody. So, then it's got to come across a little bit more. So basically a tenuto on the first, then you imagine a slur to the last note of the left hand, which in this case is the F sharp. And then you basically just fade it out. Right? And this usually is enough to separate the voices. But it depends. Sometimes you want to go more forward with dynamics, like with expression. So I don't think there's a clear-cut rule, but it's just a tool that's very useful. And, practice that, Okay, I mean, we didn't have that much time, but...
No, that's really good. Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Right. Sure. I can send you the comments. I actually wrote down a fair bit of things. So I'll just send it after this, and then you can have a look at what I wrote.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for your performance.
Oh, thank you.
Great job. So sorry to have to stop.
No, of course.
A little bit early.
It got all too much Steven script stuff.
Yeah. Derek, are you ready to go? Nice. Okay, we've got one more today. And full transparency, I do need to leave to go to the airport mildly soon. Tim might be here, might not be here, but I will wrap up my portion of the session here before the last performance and Q&A and everything, and say thank you guys so much for watching. Derek, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the piece that you'll be playing today?
Yeah. So my name's Derek Johnson. I'm from Oklahoma. I just recently graduated with my master's in percussion performance from the University of Oklahoma. And I'll be playing Francie by Claudio Santanello.
My bad, I hit the wrong button. Okay, ready to hear your piece. Thank you.
Great, excellent. So thanks for the performance, Derek. Just curious. So when was this from? Is it a recent flick, or when did you record this?
Yeah, I recorded it. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Whenever I recorded it, I learned the piece last month. I was going to. I was thinking about learning it for if I made the semifinals for the Great Plains Marimba competition because it was on the list, and so I was trying to learn it and kind of see if I would like to use it. So yeah, it was I think it's just challenging, just trying to get the music to come out of it for me at least.
Right. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and it's also a little bit, I think it's a little confusingly written with like all the flats, where basically for a while at least it seems like it's more like in C sharp minor or E major or something, and then you have like an A and a D flat, which is like, what is this weird chord? And it's like, oh, it's just an A major.
Yeah.
No, so I think there's a bit of confusion maybe in the notation itself. For instance, on the first page on the moderato, I mean, I don't think anyone will hear it as sort of like being close to like a D flat major, right? So it's in a way it's just a C sharp minor as I can see it. But I mean, it also there's this duality, right? Then it clearly goes to D flat major with the with the major third, right? The F. So I mean,
yeah,
maybe it's a little funkily notated, but anyway, so I mean, again, if we sort of like look from the overall perspective, I mean, it seems to me, like you've done your really some groundwork with the Steven script. Also, it looks super nice and relaxed, and it looks like you have a good economy of motion, and the strokes sound kind of even. And I wonder, like, do you have a marching band background or?
Yeah, yeah. I had marching band was kind of serious at my high school at Santa Fe.
Right.
Then I went to OSU, and the percussion director there, Wayne Bovenshin, he's more of a kind of marching band guy. So I got to play snare drum in the drum line over there for 4 years.
Yeah, nice. So the reason I'm asking, I mean, you can imagine, probably it's just that all of those things, like you have pretty great posture, you're not moving much, it's a relaxed Stevens technique, nice piston strokes and economy of motion, and all the strokes sound really nice and even, to the point where I feel like that's actually maybe preventing you from getting like as much of the music out as you could, right? Because it becomes a little bit like, instead of kind of like these nice, like some like, if you think of like materials, right? If you imagine the performance as a collection of materials, you have like one material, like the performance has all the same materials. It's like all rubber, for instance, right? It's like all rubber. You don't have like, you don't have a nice soft pillow here and like a glass that is half broken with a, like an edge that you can cut yourself on, like, ooh, stay away from that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like very homogeneous. And I think for my, and that's totally up to taste, but like to get the most out of a lyrical piece, which I think this is, then, exploring more of the, let's say, not so optimal techniques, sometimes leaving the mallets on the bars a little bit and not like getting back up ready for the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that it becomes less motorical and more expressive. And I mean, this is something that is super personal, obviously. And it's just, I think personally that if you think it takes a while, I guess, to kind of really develop and dive into that kind of thing. and I don't, maybe it's just like so personal that it doesn't make sense even to, but just for me, you know, I like the feeling that you can, you know, like you move differently on the instrument, you know. When you think about a piano, to, you know, like it's basically like a hammer hitting the string, and you can do all kinds of things, but like you can't really control the hammer. But here we can make the hammer not go like this, we can make the hammer go like this or like that, or like stay on it without bouncing back, and so we can actually do quite a lot, you know.
Okay, yeah.
I would encourage you as you move forward in your career also, and just really to try to explore that, and not think of in a paradigm where all the mallets should like come up the same way all the time. And it's just, to me, it's a little that's great, you have to be able to do that, obviously, but you also in my opinion have to be able to do more than that. And of course you do, it's just, you know, I think you can do much more like that. So only place where there's slight kind of small technical things, maybe on these, you know, like those fourth. You know, you kind of, I see like the thumb is like, it's like, blah, 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 just keeps letting go. And this is a curse in more difficult repertoire, okay? It's just a thing to keep in mind, like, you know, just keep the thumb on. All right, so then you have the control, because otherwise you don't really have the control, and there's no reason to take off the thumb here. And it's kind of like not perfect here, and I think you're just lacking the control a bit. If we go to the musical, so that's all I would say, sort of for like the technical part of it. You know, I will not take too long on that. So for the musical part, somehow when I was listening to this, I really got this kind of vibe. Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And sort of like a 3/4 vibe, rather than like. Right? And I think, to me, that makes the piece again a little more static. It will flow more if you really get that dotted quarter feel that I suppose he wants, since he writes it in 6/8, right? So I think you should really try to do that. You don't have a marimba there, do you? By any chance? Behind the couch somewhere? Yes. So it will be a little hard to work on those ideas that I had here, but I can send maybe some text to you later. So anyways, I would you know, not play. I mean, it becomes very much like this, like I can show you, I mean, kind of like 16th note things, and you hear the right hand, I think, a little too much in the beginning, because I mean, what is the right hand? The right hand is boring. That's what it is. But I mean, so you have to make it mysterious, or, you know, like. Or something, and then maybe. Something, I mean, you have to make it more interesting. You keep it hidden a bit in the beginning, you know, you can change like the sound of it. Something, I mean, or go close to the rope, just change the sound, you know, it's a little too static. You know, let the left hand drive the first 2, 3 bars, and then the right hand comes and leads us into the next chord, right? It's too much just the right hand taking control. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, and in general, you know, I like kind of, especially in this kind of music, to begin like that, you know, like whenever you have like a new section, especially after the opening phrase, which is super free, you know, instead of playing like right away, you could be like, you know, like really just the marimba I feel is a very organic instrument, or like that doesn't really make sense, but it's very, you can't just cut the notes unless you dampen them, and so you're kind of forced into this natural decay, and basically every note you make is a little nice curve like that, right? Boom, like that. And so I think a natural phrasing, especially in this kind of melodic thing, also goes like that, so like instead of being so static, you want to imagine these kind of smooth wavy lines. And then you come to this D flat major kind of thing, and just sort of, I mean, it's small details, it's not even so interesting. Then I would just say for your performance, like I would try to keep the tempo a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't have to be like super strict, but if you go to 60 and 62, suddenly it's like super fast tempo, it's like suddenly the tempo on 62 just speeds up, and nothing is really written. And I think you might be able to speed up a little bit, but it just suddenly sounds like, oh, what, a new section, what's going on now? But it's not even, it should still be kind of part of the same music, right? So if you can make it sound good in the same tempo, I think it's better. And then on 70, we have this accelerando and stuff, and I was thinking maybe you could try the idea that again, here I kind of feel that you have like a 3 feeling, so because you don't, from the bass, you don't go like, or whatever it is, the notes, you just go like it's like you are in, in quarter note pulse, but it can be nice maybe, and then I would say maybe compositionally it could be better to think the 2/4 as still the same. So you're like like just keep that instead of like da 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 dum 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 dum, like because then you can make like a huge accelerando on the 8 notes and make this a little more exciting, I would do that. I think just change the composition a little bit. I don't think Claudio will mind one bit. It's just to give it that fire. And then I would say just like wait a little bit with the ritardando. I know it's written like a lot of ritardando right there, but maybe it could be nice to wait a little bit so that you're here like. Like that you arrive all the way to the last chord, so that it's like you let the air out of the balloon and there's like no air left in it, and you're still trying to squeeze air out of it, but all the air is gone. Like there's no energy left already. Like on the second roll, it's like ba, ba. It's like there's no more air in the phrase, right? So just let the phrase continue and finally rest on the B flat, the B major, right? That will work better, I'm sure. Hey, Megan.
Hello. I'm just popping in for 1 second. You guys are absolutely free to keep discussing, but unfortunately, I do have to stream right here. So everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Thank you
See you
for all of your help.